gonna hate me forever.
I mean, you know, hey, it's good.
So,
Good surprise.
what should be the title for this series? Should be like torturing cinematographers.
Wow,
The
that was
20
something.
obstructions.
Yeah. We should, yeah, like 5 lights. What can you do?
Yeah.
You know, we should have some matches. I should have brought some candles.
I thought it would be much better that everyone lights themselves. Because when a DP comes, it's like, oh, you know, I don't like my light, whatever. So I was going to be on the spot with all of you.
Oh, I see what you did.
But
Yeah,
then
good
I thought,
move.
no, it's actually pretty cool to see how everyone does it differently with the same constraints.
Yeah.
That kind of reveals everyone's unique signature. But I didn't realize it was going to be such a torture for people.
Very self-conscious, but it's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good.
Like,
It's fun.
I can never invite any friends anymore.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
They're like,
They're gonna-
wait,
you're
wait,
gonna
wait,
be
like, tell me what's going to be the hidden.
Yeah, come over. I'm gonna have dinner, and then people are gonna be like, right.
But I love how you did it. It's getting darker and darker with every new person.
I think as you come in, you're like, at end of day, you're like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, Autumn is coming tomorrow, and she was like, I'm gonna do it dark.
Perfect.
It's like, yeah, and wait until Bradford comes, you know.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming after a long day of scouting.
Yeah. Good way to end the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talking about shit.
Yeah. How's Drew? He's good.
He
Seems
was
like
good.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a cool guy.
he had to go scouting. So
Yeah,
when
that's
you
right.
come in from a scout, he was
That's right.
going to scout.
Because he's starting that project.
Yeah, with Grant,
Yeah.
singer.
Sounds like it'll be a fun one.
Yeah, Grant is great. I did a music video a while ago for the weekend with him, and he was super cool,
Oh, good.
very collaborative, good ideas, but also like letting you play a lot.
Sure,
So
sure.
I think he's gonna have a great time.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
Did they work together before?
I don't know, probably some music videos. I
probably
would
something.
guess.
Sure. Yeah, he and I we had breakfast a few weeks ago. It was good.
With Drew?
I never met him before.
It's nice to find time to
Yeah.
hang out with each other because it's such a lonely
Yeah, because like,
job.
yeah, the only time anybody ever sees anybody is like ASC Awards or at the Camera House or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's always like, there's so much going on. There's
Yeah.
no time to just like,
No, exactly.
just chill.
Yeah.
You know. See, I'm going to be cautious next time you invite over for dinner party. I'm going to be like,
I actually
lit?
owe you a big dinner
Oh, really? Is it
in
lit?
a restaurant with the lighting of your choice.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah, I have my, made a list on the movies thing.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do I have here?
Yeah, I'm very curious because everyone else I saw the list beforehand, but your list is going to be a surprise.
I should have
It's funny, like, I think so far from like 5 people that gave me their list, I don't think we have one movie,
Really?
maybe one movie in common or something, but it's,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's super interesting.
I was just reading, one of these I was reading about, I couldn't remember who the cinematographer was on Peeping Tom. There's this guy, Otto Heller, who I'd heard a little bit about, but not much, but apparently even though he carried a light meter, he never used it, he always lit by eye. And they didn't know that, but he would use his light meter, because if he didn't, people thought he was like nuts.
Yeah.
And they found out when he died, they found the light meter doesn't
No
work at all.
battery. What?
Yeah, it didn't even work. It was discovered that the meter wasn't operational.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was like the guy had done tons of work. He was a Jew. He was living in Germany in the 30s. One of his camera operators, who he worked with on movies, had just joined the SS.
What?
Yeah, and the operator told him to leave Germany, and Heller asked when, and he said, right now. The guy like gave him the heads up, get out. It's crazy. I was reading all this stuff about the guy. It was amazing. I had
Wow.
no idea. Really interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that movie, Peeping Tom?
Yeah, but a long time ago.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
It's
like
been a
film
long-
school kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did you go to film school? How did you get started with
I went
lighting?
No, I went to school at AFI.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the early 90s.
For cinematography, or
Yeah.
were you doing? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I could only afford 1 year, so I had to do a year and then bail out. But it was a good year. I had, like other people in the class was like Maddie.
Yeah.
Letique,
Oh,
and-
really?
Yeah, and that's where I met Maddie and Antonio Calvache, and there's a lot of directors too. Todd Field, Darren Aronofsky, Mark Waters, Scott Silver.
Everyone was on that same year?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, pretty wild. There's a lot of other folks that went on. A lot of people, some people left the business and got into web. This is like as the internet was coming on. So it was really this interesting collection of folks over the years where their careers have gone, not all into
Yeah.
their things that they were studying.
Wow. Okay, so you did 1 year and then you just had to
1
leave
year I was like,
and then
I
you
was
started
like,
working in
Yeah, I started working. Yeah, I
Okay.
just started working as I was gaffing like student films from USC and things like that, and because I was doing a lot of gaffing at AFI because I was just like, people always needed somebody to do that. I liked it, so I was doing it a lot, and then I ended up getting a real job. I guess a real job, like, you know, on a low budget movie, and started as a best boy. I didn't even know what a best boy was.
Yeah.
And so they came to me on the Friday. They were like, "Hey, we need the time cards." I'm like, "What are time cards?" And so the Best Boy grip's like, "Let me show you how to do time cards." I mean, I was only making like $75 a day. It was
Yeah.
like nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. But that was back when there was so much low budget independent cinema happening in Los Angeles. And so
That was late 90s?
That was
or-
like not even. That was like 90. It's probably like 94, 95. Yeah. Fucking crazy. 30 years. Oof. And then there was this whole eruption of music videos that was happening during that time in the 90s. A lot of rap video, stuff like that. And so Maddie was doing a lot of those. Other people from AFI and other schools were doing things. And so I was just working on all that. And that was great because you were always shooting film. You were always you do 2 or 3 jobs a week. It was great training. You
Yeah,
learned so
great
much.
school.
And so you're just like constantly practicing the craft.
And then you fell in love with being like you were not in a hurry to
I wasn't-
switch
no.
to cinematography.
No, 'cause it
you
was
did
really-
a great gaffer
yeah.
career.
Yeah, I really enjoyed gaffing, and I got into the union as an electrician, which was great. And so then I was doing that for a bit, but then in the late '90s, I was re-gaffing a movie called Stuart Little. It was like one of the first Stuart Little.
Yeah.
And then I started working as a gaffer with a DP named Johnny Viscofier.
I love him.
Oh yeah, he was great.
Oh my God, he's my favorite. He was my biggest influence.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Like,
crazy.
Like if you ask me my list of the
Yeah.
movies, The Night is Young, you know, Mauvais
Yeah,
Sang, that he did with Leo Carax,
Yeah.
the second movie they
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
I used to know this movie like by heart.
He talked
like,
a lot about that
shot,
movie.
Shot by shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, because he talked a lot about that film.
Yeah.
And because I had when I started working with him, I started as a rigging gaffer. Didn't work out with the gaffer. Okay, well, you know where all the locations. It was all locations, and you knew all the notes. So
Yeah.
Johnny just said you should just gaff, and so I started working with him, and it was yeah, that was quite an experience. Like you know, because you're right in there with him, and he's a very petite individual. Like he's really small. His body was, and so everybody kind of thought he's like, oh, he's very
Yeah.
soft spoken, but he was like, "Meow." And it was yeah. He really had to get in his head real quick and function it the way he liked to work.
Yeah.
But he had like he's the first person I used used a ton of KinoFlow with, because he was all like he had his own KinoFlow package and all
Really,
this.
yeah, he was really into soft lighting before anyone was
Big time.
being able to do
Big
so
time.
much soft
And we built
lighting.
all these custom lights for him that were all soft. You know, he wanted all the soft. Everything was soft. But it was really interesting working with him because he was really like, it was the first time I worked with somebody who had such a European sentiment as far as how he approached light and all that kind of stuff, which was kind of cool. That's not,
Yeah.
because coming out of school was a lot more hard light, a lot more, you know, okay, we'll put up a Fresnel and put a bunch of stuff in front of it, and he was very much about soft, which was interesting to kind of get used to his way of working.
Yeah.
You know, and
It
his
was like
aesthetic.
soft and rappy. Like
Yeah.
it was. I remember I discovered his work. Like I was in Argentina, and I discovered it like on VHS, and it was like probably like a copy of a copy of a copy, you know. And that's how I was seeing movies there. You know, it was like so hard to get some stuff. So it was like 2 like cool kind of video clubs where you would
Yeah.
find these rare movies. And I watched that movie so many times. I had like a little notebook where I had made like the storyboard, you know, like deconstructed like the whole movie. Maybe 3 years later, I mean, after I saw it for the first time, I was in Spain in some kind of like party, you know, the party of people trying to be a bit cool. and they're like projecting the movie in the middle of the party on 35 mil. And I'm
Wow.
just looking at the movie and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
suddenly I'm seeing all the colors and
Yeah.
seeing like the soft, like the quality rapid. I was
Yeah.
just like, I couldn't believe it. Because I was already obsessed seeing it like totally degraded.
Sure.
And when I saw that quality of light, like,
Yeah, when you saw it like projected in the format it was intended.
yeah, it was just like amazing. And I remember that soft, like it was high contrast, but the softness and wrapping, and like I hadn't seen something
Sure.
like that. I mean, he was a poet also, like the
Yeah.
framing. That movie is all like long lenses, like it's very Bressonian, the
Yeah.
way it frames
Yeah.
and tells
Yeah.
the story with details all the time. Yeah, huge influence. Probably my biggest
That's
influence.
amazing. I
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
know
sad
that.
I never got to meet him.
Yeah. He was a character.
Yeah.
He was a character. Oh my God. He had just like some amazing zingers. He had tons of funny things he would say. But yeah, it was really interesting working with him.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah.
Well, Harmony, when he did Gamo,
Yeah.
he said
of
he
course.
would only direct a movie if Jean-Yves Gauffier
Yeah.
was shooting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was one of the movies that I was like, I watched that for the first time. I was like, because I hadn't seen it before I worked with him. And I watched it. I'm like, Jean-Yves, what was this about? He's just like, oh my God, you know. Yeah.
What did you do with him? Did he do some big Hollywood thing?
I did,
after
yeah,
that?
I did a movie called Nurse Betty. I did another movie
Ah,
called
yeah.
15 Minutes,
You did
which is the De Niro movie. And then did a bunch of commercials and stuff. Yeah, because he passed away, like it was just, he was lying on his couch.
Yeah, he was like 50 or something.
Yeah, he
I
told
remember.
me when we first started working together that he was, I don't know, somehow we went in a conversation. He was telling me that at the time when he was born, he had a small hole in his heart and they had to do surgery. And it was at the time, very experimental. So he's like, yeah, I don't know, my heart is okay, but, you know, he was just kind of saying that's one of the reasons he was kind of like so diminutive. Happens, you
Yeah.
know. It's horrible. It was
Yeah.
such a bummer.
I know.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
But he left a lot of great images.
Yeah, so he was one of your first
Yeah. it was
DPs.
one of the first people I
Amazing.
worked
What a
with,
way
yeah.
to start. And then you went like on the second decade of your gaffer career, you started to work with like all the best people and became like the superstar gaffer in LA.
I got really lucky just working with so many different folk. That was really a blessing, just to see so many different ways of how to work in the business and how to create images and things like that. And people's processes also, not just like how to light, but just like how everyone handles the same problems.
Like here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's like lighting or dealing with like, you know, just the dynamics of what a set can be, and
Yeah.
directors' relationships with directors, and all of it, just all of it. 'Cause so much of like, you know, so much of it about making an image isn't even about lighting is a component of it, but it's also just, you know, design and set decoration and wardrobe and all these other things, and how to like see that whole conversation. I feel really lucky to have seen how so many people like did it.
Yeah.
And just see their process, and it's just so different. That was the thing that just blew my mind, just to see, because to me it was never about like, oh, I want to do big movies or this. It was always about like, I just want to do interesting stuff. And so, which have their own problems. The larger the budget just means more problems. But like, I remember when Robert Elza called me up and he was like, hey, I got this movie. It's 26 shooting days, but 24 of the 26 are nights. And I was like, well, that's a hell of a sales pitch. And it was a tier movie, so it was less money. And he's like, just read the script and tell me what you think. And I read the script, and I was like, I got to do this movie. And it was this thing called Nightcrawler that was like with Jake Gyllenhaal. And it was just such a super cool, like,
Yeah.
you know, just when you read something that's good, you just want to be part of it.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of like my driving MO, was just to work with interesting people and on interesting material.
Yeah, you did like maybe four movies with Robert?
Yeah, I did Syriana, Good Night and Good Luck, Nightcrawler, Inherent Vice, and some commercials and stuff.
But another one, right? With P.T. Anderson? Was it just one?
It was just Inherent Vice.
Oh.
Yeah, just a lot of different directors and all that kind of stuff. But with him, it was great because he's so great at just like subtle stuff and just restraint. And the fact is where he's had such a long career and he's still doing amazing stuff,
Amazing
like
stuff.
Ripley and all that.
Yeah.
Just doing interesting things, which is
Yeah.
great.
Would you say he's your main mentor, or like did you just
I don't
take
know. I mean,
equally
I did,
from everyone?
yeah, you know, I did like 9 movies with Mauro Fiore, and very different approach, like very much like Janusz. You know, he kind of came from that whole school, and then with Maddie, he and I probably did eight movies or something.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah, I did a lot
Oh,
of stuff with him
I
over the
didn't pay
years.
attention to that.
And he was always be in and out, you know, because he'd work a lot in New York and stuff. But
So you were working with Tana?
yeah,
Movie grip
oh yeah.
for
Yeah.
like together as gaffer grip before you
Yeah.
hire her as your.
Yeah, we'd done probably like 7 or 8 projects.
Wow, she's great.
Yeah, you know, she has such an interesting background, and so to have someone who's a grip who's coming from lighting, from more of, she did a lot of photography.
Yeah.
And so she really brings an interesting eye to light, which is great.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have like collaborative people who
Yeah.
just bring so much to the party. Yeah, I've just been really lucky to work with a lot of different folks who have different approaches to all of it.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Like Chivo and Greg
Yeah.
and Matty.
Yeah.
And it's like all my favorite people
Yeah.
for lighting for.
Yeah, I got to do one movie with Pavel Edelman, who did who had done a lot. He mostly works in Europe, but he had done the piano, a bunch of different stuff, and in Europe, and he just came up with a whole different. It was just interesting to work with people who are based kind of more in America and then people who are based more in Europe, and how they kind of handle some of the different problems, especially when limited resources and stuff in some of those markets, and just bringing those approaches to it.
Yeah.
And got to work with Bruno Delbanel.
Yeah, it's great.
It was great. And just was such an organic process he has, and just so funny. It's just good to see people who can bring humor into the equation and how that kind of shapes their craft and all that kind of thing.
I remember when I moved here, my first movie here was Neon Demon, and I didn't know anyone here. And I don't remember who I was asking for a gaffer, and they told me to call you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I called you, and you were like, I'm not available. But you recommended me Manny Tapia,
Oh, yeah,
who became
Manny. Yeah, it was great.
my gaffer. I mean, you were the guy to call for so many years here. Like, did you feel at some point you were just gonna stay as gaffer, like, or were you like hoping to step up?
I really enjoyed lighting. As a cinematographer, you're balancing a lot more than just lighting. And, you know, sometimes actually when you're like doing that part of it, it's like the fun part, you know, or not just lighting, but just like actually creating it, you know, because so much of the job is so many other things that you're dealing with. So I was really happy with just like, okay, I like that. But, you know, when I started working with Paul and a few others, it was like, they were like, oh, you know, especially Paul, when we started film with him, he does a lot of camera tests, and a lot of those are tests masquerading as music videos. And so we'd do like, he'd have music video for his band Haim, or he'd do something for Radiohead, and he'd be like, hey, what do you think if we just, you and I just kind of do this and just mess around a little bit and try some stuff. And so that was kind of like, we were doing a Radiohead video for this song called Daydreaming, and it was like, you know, we shot for 4 days, and
the one who goes
going through
all
all
the
these doors,
yeah.
And so he was like, what do you think if we did a movie this way? I was like, yeah, sure, okay, why not? Let's try it.
There were like little dates, and then it's
Yeah.
like, let's get married.
Yeah, kind of.
Let's have a baby.
Yeah,
Maybe not
yeah.
get married.
And he was like,
one baby. See what
yeah, and he was like, I got a movie that I think is going to happen. It's going to happen in England, and what do you think? I was like, yeah, I'd be open for it. And so we ended up going over and doing Phantom Thread. I didn't take the title of a cinematographer on that. I took a title of lighting cameraman, because that was kind of one of our big influences was Barry Lyndon with Stanley Kubrick and Stanley Kubrick and Alcott, John Alcott, who took the title of lighting cameraman. So I was like, oh, we're in England, we should kind of do it that way. It's kind of fun, and we're using the English system. And so, yeah, and so that's kind of how that developed. And then with Paul, you have Colin Anderson, the operator, is really heavily involved and things like that. So you have a really good team that throws the ball around in interesting ways. And that's just kind of how it started happening. And then I came back and I did a couple, I still was gaffing. I came back and did a movie with Greg Fraser, and I did something with Chivo, and did, there's a couple other things in there. And I did a movie with Bruno, and then he had Licorice Pizza, and he was like, hey, let's do this. And, you know, we kind of got a system. Let's keep it going. So then, we did that one, and then on to this last one. So it's just kind of evolved in that manner. And then in the meantime, Jason McCormick, I don't know if you know Jason, but yeah, he was like doing a series in New York, and he was like, he needed another DP on it. And so he asked me, and I was like, yeah, sure. So
So this monster, you're alternating with Jason? Or?
no,
Oh, okay.
no, this was way back.
That
He
was
had
the
this series
before.
called Feud, which
Ah,
was
okay.
like I think 6 of the 8 episodes or whatever, and he
Okay.
needs somebody, and he was
Okay. Oh, so that was your first thing, being
like
a
full
cinematographer
on, like
without
without,
P.T.
yeah,
Anderson.
exactly,
Like,
like
yeah.
full on. Hey, what are you up to? Come
Yeah.
on.
What a contrast to go from doing a P.T. Anderson movie
Yeah.
to a TV show.
Oh yeah.
No matter what TV show it is.
No, yeah.
It's
No,
like a different animal completely,
yeah,
right?
totally,
How
totally.
did that feel?
Weird.
Yeah.
No, I was just kind of like, okay, well, and I didn't know anybody on it. That was the other thing. I knew Jason,
Yeah.
but I didn't know any of the production team. I knew none of the directors. I knew nobody. And so they really took a chance on like, okay, you know, sure, let's try it. And I knew the gaffer as a friend, and so I knew that was, but there wasn't a lot of friendly. Everyone was great, but it wasn't like I walked into like, oh, I know that guy, and I know that
Yeah,
guy, and I know
yeah,
those people, and
yeah. Why did you decide, okay, this is the next thing I'm gonna do as a DP?
I think it just kind of fell into. I was living on the East Coast then, and this was in New York, and it was like, okay, this is a great opportunity to just start meeting a lot of people on this side of the, this part of the country, which I didn't really know that many folk.
Yeah.
And I knew Jason, and I know kind of we'd been talking in the months, because he would just ask me questions, or we just have conversations, creative conversations about stuff, and so I kind of knew the level of work he was trying to do. I was like, oh, this would be kind of interesting, and it was this period thing about Truman Capote, which is kind of interesting, and so why not? I've always been one to like, okay, if things are uncomfortable or you're not comfortable with things, that's a good space to be in. It's hard to operate that way at times. It doesn't
Yeah.
always work, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it was like it was very much like, okay, I'm just gonna come into this and see what we do and just understand, because I'd never done anything on series style before, so that was kind of a new experience. One thing about that whole team is when you start working with them, they're very loyal, and if they feel that they trust you and they like visually what you're doing, they want to keep you going. It just kind of evolved in that relationship a bit, which was interesting.
Yeah. Is that part of that is the same team now in
Yeah.
Monster?
Yeah, because I worked with one of the directors, is Max Winkler. He ended up doing a season of horror stories right before the strike, and he said, hey, would you want to do this with me? I was like, yeah, sure, because I liked working with him.
Yeah.
And then he ended up doing Monster, and he was like, hey, why don't we do this last season? That was every bit, as challenging as any feature that I've done. And
Well, sometimes more, right? Because
Oh,
the
yeah.
times, it's like...
Yeah, you're on a very tight schedule, and you're
Yeah.
trying to make days and all that. And we had a phenomenal crew because we were coming right out of the strike, which was a huge benefit for us because people were available and interested in working, and
Yeah.
everything about it was, he just really set the edict that he wanted to make it as cinematic as possible. But it's a lot, to do that schedule is,
Yeah,
it's
it's intense.
it's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also probably being used to not just the time, but yeah, just like the attention to detail, right? With P.T.
Yeah.
Anderson and that specific way of working
Yeah.
into something that is more like
Yeah.
go,
Oh
go.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It was helpful to have just like to be able to approach everything, like my natural inclinations, because I didn't come up through cameras, just to look at things from a light perspective, and I was very comfortable talking to production designer, set decoration, all these other, like, okay, hey, this is what the end goal is. How do we create that? And some of it's light, some of it's lens, but a lot of it is this, this, and this. And when you're making the sandwich, you need all the ingredients. It flowed very well, and Max was really great, so that was. Yeah.
Apart from like paying more attention than before to lenses, what do you think was the main different thing or challenging thing from making the jump to cinematography?
The dynamic, like I never, it's like I never really had to work with a camera crew on a regular basis, so I was like, okay. And that's, it's just, how it is. It's just so many different personalities, so many different things, so many different ways. And also it wasn't very, I knew the camera, but I didn't know it like, you know it when you're, because I'd done so much in film. Film's very much, it's a similar approach, but it's different in certain ways. And digital is a great experience, but it's a different, you have different tools in the box. Just getting used to and kind of getting a working knowledge of all that was, fortunately everybody's been great, but it's like, what does this thing do? What is this? What do you need this? And
Yeah.
just understanding all of it.
Yeah.
And there's so many cameras that are out there now, and it's just constantly changing. And
Yeah,
so
it's annoying.
yeah, it is. I mean,
It's
the thing I can really appreciate about film is like you have 4 film stocks. I don't know what to tell you. That's what you got.
Yeah.
And so make it work.
Yeah. I feel like all the conversation, there wasn't obviously not even a 10% of this type of conversations when we were studying, right? Like
Yeah.
late 90s, beginning of 2000s, because there was no internet and stuff. But I think the conversations that we knew from documentaries or live were never about the latest camera, what did you
Yeah.
use, what the gadget. It was about the work, not
Yes.
about the tools.
Yeah.
And now it's like just keeping up with the tools is like takes
Yeah.
90% of
Yeah.
the energy sometimes.
Yeah, because there's just so much. There's so many things, and when you start a project, you're just like it's tests and everything. And it's just like wow, there's a lot of stuff to chew through.
Yeah.
To just get a handle on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different times, definitely now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after you did Liquorized Pizza, you continued to do a couple more projects as gaffer.
Yeah.
So now, like, are you done with gaffing, or you love?
I think
doing both,
I
or-
mean it's an interesting question because I think it's like if there was something that was really unique with a unique person, it'd definitely be a conversation because I think my ethos has always been just doing interesting things with interesting people.
Yeah.
And it's not about like, oh, okay, I'm a cinematographer. If there was some unique whatever, I mean, yeah, it's just I think it's all about just always learning. And anytime you get to work as a gaffer with somebody, you can just glean and see. And I almost got an opportunity. It was name was in the mix for a bit on a job with Vittorio Storaro when he was still, and I was like,
Of course.
you got, how do you, come on. And so it's like, but I think it's just doing interesting things is really what it is.
Yeah.
Intriguing stuff.
What intrigues you?
I don't know, just like interesting light and how people are using it and just creating interesting art and things like that. And just telling stories. It's like, and visually telling a story is the tech doesn't really matter. I mean, I remember when I was in film school and Conrad Hall came in, and it's like, here's the guy who was, the Uber master. At the time at AFI, we were shooting on Betacams, and people were like bitching about the Betacam, and he's like, you guys, no, because it doesn't matter what you're capturing it on. You can capture it on, 8mm or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all about telling a good story visually and how you're doing that. The format's always going to change, and I think he was looking at it from, I don't know how old he was then. He was in his 70s, and he was looking at it from a very historical perspective, having seen so many changes happen in the film business up to that point. Even though everybody's still shooting celluloid, it was still like all the different stocks and the formats and all this, and he's seen it, and so he was just like, he was kind of this very wise old owl, like, you got to always focus back to the story and tell that. And so that's really the thing. It's like I see so many, even with all the new technology that's happening now and AI and everything, there's just so many interesting things, and it's terrifying and exciting at the same time. You know? It's a really interesting time,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And going back to the story and centering in what matters and stuff, should we go to another film in your list?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where those things
I was thinking like
started, right?
Yeah, like one of the early films that I had seen that really inspired me was Miller's Crossing from the Coen brothers, because that was really a movie that was a movie I watched a lot. Such an interesting way that Barry Sonnenfeld had shot it, and he obviously went on to be a very big director, with all his directing Men in Black and all that. But at the time, he was their cinematographer, and he shot Blood Simple, and I know he did Miller's Crossing. There might have been something else in there. He just worked with them a little bit. Oh, he did Raising Arizona. The way they would move the camera and everything in that particular, I hadn't seen like shots like done that way. I mean, Scorsese was doing stuff like this, but this was like different things, and it was really interesting and inspiring to see like this way of camera movement and how people were delivering lines to the camera and how they would use the camera in interesting ways. And it was really like, wow. And that was pretty eye-opening for me. And that kind of got me going down a few different roads of different types of movies. And so like, my folks would watch a lot of like 70s cinema, back in the day. And so I remember seeing like All the President's Men, which Gordon Willis had done. I was just watching it the other day, a few weeks ago, and it was so interesting because it's just so much about. They did a lot of it on stage, but they're just so patient. The camera was just always observing. You know, they'd set up a split diopter and have this going on and that going on
Yeah.
in the background, and just sitting there, not really moving or doing super slow zooms, things like that. And
There's
his
that zoom, right? That is like, what, like 5 minutes or something when he's getting the phone call. You
you
don't even
know
notice
because
it.
it's super slow.
Yeah.
And it's almost got a quasi documentary feel because it's so observational.
Yeah.
But it's great. But they built the whole set on stage at Warner Brothers. And
Yeah,
it was,
because there was one where they're doing that long diagonal tracking shot as well, right?
Yeah.
And they just like, yeah, it's like, I studied that film a lot when I did She Said,
Oh, really?
because, you know,
Yeah.
it all happens mostly in the New York Times,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I also had this kind of brief, you know, that we had to be invisible. We had
Yeah.
to, it had to feel like a documentary, and like I never chose to do a movie that is like that.
Yeah.
And only chose it because of the subject matter.
Sure.
Because I probably turned down 10 movies that were in offices before, you
Sure.
know, like
Sure.
top fluorescent lighting. No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
Exactly.
I watched it so many times because it was just like a fucking masterpiece of
Yeah.
being invisible. And like, yeah, this feels like nobody was there, like totally documentary, fly on the wall, and then it's not like every shot is so carefully crafted and the camera is exactly in the right place.
Totally.
And the few times that it moves, it's just so motivated and so subtle and so elegant that you just don't feel it, you know. But
Yeah.
it totally supports the story and the tension.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
And it just is a great way of building tension, and then just his lighting, of course, is always interesting, and that is no exception. And just like, you know, like even the parking garage stuff and all the things he does, where it's
Yeah.
just, you know, very cat and mouse, and that 70s film stock, and it just gets really crunchy and all that. It's just,
Yeah.
it's got.
Dealing with those real fluorescents, they didn't have stereotypes or anything.
No, I
it
didn't
was
have any
all
of that.
magenta as fuck.
Yeah, yeah. It was really interesting to see, like,
Yeah.
I had read something with the production designer and how they were like, they went to the Washington Post building and they did all these, you know, research because they couldn't shoot in it, so they
Yeah.
had to rebuild it. And
Yeah.
and all the set dressing, they got all the old paper from it, they shipped it out, they
Yeah.
put it all the
Yeah,
desks.
yeah,
It was
I
just
remember
really
that.
like,
Yeah.
it's very well done and just very inspiring to see. Just like also when you're thinking of like, oh, I need a lot of coverage or something, and which is very you know, I shouldn't say it's very popular today, but just people like, you know, it's easier to get coverage now, and I think it's these folks are just, it's just the fact that they could just, oh, we're going to put the camera here and we'll block, and blocking is is so interesting in that movie as far as how he just moved people around in the frame without moving the frame,
Yeah.
and so it's cool. What else I got?
How did it work? This is not about your latest movie because you've done thousands of interviews about it, which is amazing, but I'm not going to ask you all the
Yeah.
time the same questions. Something I haven't heard a lot yet in those interviews is how do you work with P.T. Anderson with the blocking of the actors, and how much of that is
No, I think,
pre-planned or...
yeah, I think a lot of it is dependent upon the type of movie that he's making. For example, like One Battle there was so much improv on that, and which was something he wanted, and so it was like, you know, it was more about lighting a space, and you know, we'd come in and be like, what do you think? I've seen him on other jobs where other projects that he's done where he's more like, okay, let's put you here type of thing.
Yeah, you would think like Phantom Thread is like
Yeah.
probably the whole opposite. I don't know what was the methodology, but it's like photos.
Yeah, and it was much smaller spaces, and he always shoots practical location. You
Yeah.
very, very rarely go on stage, and so you're really kind of working within the confines. I think he works best when you've got like there's rules to the world, you know, like, okay, this is our space. We can only put the camera here, 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 and you start to shape something from that versus like, I'm gonna just start from a blank sheet of paper and go. This one was so much heavily based on improv, and he had, you know, obviously we do the script and this, but there were so many little details that were just on how the set was decorated and things that the actors would play off of, and not even intentional in the script. It was all about capturing kind of, because the main driving force on that was, again, it was like a lot of 70s cinema. He was really like, I want to get this kind
French
of energy.
Connection.
Yeah, and it's how do we get that energy? And a lot of it is just like, okay, we're just going to let things happen. He just happened to, the actors he had were so great at improvisation and happy accidents and things like that would happen. And so, blocking might be, I don't know, well, let's put them over here. Or what's it like if they're over here? Or play the scene over here for a second. Let's just see what happens. And a lot of times with Paul, he has blessings of having a production team that knows to budget enough for additional photography. Like, you'll go back to, like, if you have a location for, like, in that movie, for example, like Sensei's dojo, they had that space for a month because it was an abandoned building that they signed a lease on. And so we'd shoot, and they'd be like, hey, we got to go back there again. I want to try this scene a different way. They kind of build that approach in, so you have the ability to, like.
That's amazing. That's how all movies should be.
I know.
Right? Like really, Wong Kar-wai, take 10 years to do.
Yeah, because everybody's thing is how much.
Yeah.
The best commodity everybody needs is shooting time.
It's time.
That's the most valuable thing.
Yeah.
And so for him, like that versus like, Licorice Pizza was a lot more about, like, the actors were it was really the first project for both of them, the two leads, and so it was really about, like, okay, let's try this. I need you to go here. It was a little bit more intentionality there, but this was like, when they started clicking, you just had to have the lighting and everything in an environment that they could just go.
You can jump with them.
Yeah, which was amazing to watch.
Okay, I'm such a fan of Punch Drunk Love. Almost could remember it like shot by shot, right?
Wow.
And there's something that is similar, even though this is about cinematography, in the sound, in the music.
Oh yeah.
Like the way that it's a very Godardian way of like, dun, 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 dun. There's always like this tension music in the, I don't know what the instrument is now, but it's almost like the same beat.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
like,
interesting.
does he have this on set? Like something that, like, when I shot with Nick Refn, like he had like 4 songs when we did Neon Demon that were like playing all the time. And that was just giving kind of like the rhythm of, but
flow,
he doesn't use it as much as P.T. Anderson at all. Like, it's the music, but like, I think P.T. Anderson used it. I don't know, it just creates the music with the editing and the sound and the music, and it's just such a unique thing that he does with the rhythm and the tension, right? I don't know if it's like the percussion, you say in English, like the, and I don't know, like when I was watching the movie, I was like, almost like if I was a musician, I would be able to articulate it, but I feel like it's almost like the same beat. And I was like, does he always have like something that is doing the rhythm,
No, I mean, it's just definitely like, I know when he was talking about this film, he was playing some of the, a lot of times with also several of the films I worked with him on, the music comes first. Like on Phantom Thread, he had the score. Johnny Greenwood had already written some of the score before we even started shooting. And it was just kind of concepts and ideas. So you at least had some notes to it, and that kind of concept, and which was pretty cool, especially on this last one. The percussion and all that is really, it's really in like 70s scores and stuff, and he was playing different stuff. And we didn't really play stuff on set, but he was always...
Maybe he's got it in his head.
Yeah, and but every night we'd watch dailies. It was because we watched film
And he would put the music.
And he put the music on. And so then you could kind of hear it.
Because it's such a big part. It would be so different without that percussion. It would be like another movie.
Yeah, and he'd have different things, and he has a little mixing board where he sits by the monitor. And so he usually, he sits next to his editor, and they're putting different songs on and turning things up and turning things down.
And like DJ.
And yeah, exactly. It's like a live DJ session, and it's just... And you're hearing different things and all this kind of stuff, so it's pretty interesting. So yeah, it's cool. Awesome. But it helps you understand like the direction he's going visually. When you hear the music, and you're like, oh, okay.
Because it works. It creates a third thing. It's like
and that's really like pretty cool.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Next movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof, hard one. But the good everything you do is when you put it all in there, it's like I said, it's time. There's a lot of times on that job where it's just you get very uncomfortable with like what you're doing, especially with a lot of the exposures and stuff. Because I want to go to release on VistaVision, and since he works on original print, it's like he wanted to actually cut film. He doesn't just originate on film and then you do a digital process in that. So it was a lot about like making sure your exposures are right, because he didn't have the luxury of like, I'm going to window this out and do all this kind of stuff. And so that was also
more
another
pressure.
way. Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of that stuff is like, we're out in the desert, the sun, the exposures. Oof.
Yeah, it's also crazy that he's looking for this freshness and the improvisation and the French connection thing and the freedom,
Yeah.
and at the same time, okay, but let's do it in Vista Vision and let's have all these constraints. It's like
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
needing the fight to
Yeah.
make it more challenging and something coming from that.
Yeah, and that's always
battle.
been with him. Always is like in his movies, he's like, you never take an easy path or like, oh, I'll just do this and this. It's more just like, he has this thing where he says, he'll always say like we'll be lit and things will be going, and it's like he's like, ask yourself. Like he'll say that sometimes. And what is that? And that's like means like ask yourself, is this the best way we can be doing this?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a check so you go back and look at the stuff and figure out what's going on, just to make sure that you're really bringing it all.
What great thing to have the possibility to do that, right? Because I feel like in most movies, it's like you barely have the time. You make a decision at the beginning of the day, and then even if 2 hours later you realize it was the wrong decision, you have to fucking stick to that decision because you cannot redo.
Yeah.
This is the tragedy of the time is money paradigm in making movies, and only a few people manage to arrange things or prioritize arranging things in a way that you can have that when it should be the way that we make all movies.
I know.
Yeah.
Art versus commerce equation all the
Yeah,
time.
but the director is the one that has to fight for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that with Nick Refn in Neon Demon. Like, he was sticking to a small budget of 5 million so that he could have total control. So, because like, I don't want $1 more if they're gonna, tell me how to do things. And we had 8 weeks and shot chronologically.
Yeah.
And when we had to go back to something, we went back to something. And the 8 weeks were giving us some breathing time, to be able to like, not shoot super comfortably, but being able to like, after 1 hour say, oh, you know what, let's change direction. And that made a huge difference,
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd rather just have like, 3 lights and a half, which I had.
Yeah.
Had the first light mats.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But have the time. Like, time is the best commodity, and almost you never have it, except with these people that are like, no, I'm fighting for time.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. It's that's a thing. And it's interesting because there's another movie that was on my list is Laws of Gravity that Nick Gomez directed. It was a low budget movie that came out in the early 90s. And just to say what you're saying about time and money, like there's sections of the film when you watch it that there's just voiceover over black. Not even voiceover, they're recording the audio, they're acting. They'll be acting in a scene and all of a sudden the picture goes away and it just goes to black and they're still, you hear the voices. It's how they end. So what technique he used to end a lot of the scenes. And that was mainly because they didn't have enough money. They didn't have enough film.
Ran out of film stuff.
And so the improv is still going and it's just, all right, well, the camera rolls out and you're like, okay.
Amazing.
And the audio is what's keeping you going. But it had like this kind of crazy energy to it that was really interesting to see. And it was like, when I saw that movie, I was like, what is this? Like, I hadn't even seen that kind of an approach before, but it just, again, that's how they made the film, and it was really interesting energy to see it. It was like a movie that, I think it came out in like 94 or 93 maybe.
That was a great decade for movies.
Oh yeah,
for
a lot of great
movies.
stuff back then, totally.
Every year there was like 3 things like blowing up your head.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
What other movies did I have? I had The Conformist,
Yeah.
which is a great one. Stop Making Sense, which is
Yeah.
an amazing concert film, and it's just the energy of it and how they kind of built that whole arc from very small stuff at the beginning to this whole performance. And it was really just the way that's directed and shot. It's just so fascinating. It's great energy.
Did David Byrne direct it?
No, Jonathan Demme did.
Ah, yeah.
And Jordan Cronenwell shot it. And so it was really like and they shot it at the Pantages, and it was just such a interesting energy and just a whole nother approach to like how to tell a story about a concert. And that was one that was like, wow. Oh, Norma Ray, that John Alonzo shot, that Martin Ritt directed. This is, again, like the look of it, the colors, kind of like quasi-documentary with really interesting performances. And John Toll was one of his operators. John Alonzo operated A and John Toll operated B, and it was just interesting to see, like, because when I was at AFA, John Alonzo was our cinematography instructor.
Oh, wow.
And he had never been an instructor before, so he was kind of like, well, I'm just going to bring in my friends. And so then he brought in like Alan Daviau and Owen Roisman and Conrad Hall and all these folk, and it was just like, you know, really interesting to hear his take, like someone who had shot Chinatown. John Alonzo shot Chinatown and had shot Scarface and had shot all these films, and it was just very interesting person coming from this period of Hollywood that was just a very unique time in the kind of movies they were making then, like you said, you know, just like whether it's 70s cinema or the 90s, and just how those kind of two eras really are very dynamic for how they still resonate now to so many people.
Yeah, let's forget the 80s. Everyone was on cocaine.
I know.
And
it was like crazy times back then. Some gems in there, but you know,
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I know.
Coming back to the conformist, do you want to say, like, what was the main thing that...
I think for me it was just like, you know, with all Bertolucci stuff, his framings and things like that, and what he does with Storaro and how they frame things, whether it's, I mean, the conformist has so many moments of just like frame within a frame or giant graphic, this sense of like the state and the oppressive presence of it, and how they looked at it in architecture and things like that. And then so there's a lot of interesting things, the color, and then like moving of light, you know, the very classic scene where she's dancing, the woman's dancing, and she's got the stripes on her dress, and it's also happening with the light and things like that. And it's just, it was really interesting to see just that kind of energy and just that approach. The fact that they would always find something where, you know, it was an image that would be framed within something, and it was just, or just stay on a wide shot and block everything so that all the action for the whole scene is happening in front of you, and you're just kind of there just absorbing all of it, and every character in the frame has a significance. It was really cool. It was just really like, wow, this is very interesting stuff. And, you know, of course, Storaro has so many amazing movies under that he's shot, so it's always, it's great to see when he was doing this in a very, you know, early part of his career, and that level that he was at, and then just like what he did since then. So yeah.
Okay, what other movie?
French Connection, of course.
Oh yeah, let's talk about French Connection.
I mean, great energy, great, just again, like how to do something when you don't have any, they had no money, they had like 3 lenses, I heard.
Oh really?
Yeah, you know, trying to tell this story, and just the rawness of it all is really inspiring, because you know, the movie won Best Picture, like got this acclaim, and you know, they did it with like spit and glue and with great actors. When you look at like how Owen Roisman photographed some of the interiors, it's just really raw, and it's really like, wow, okay, you know, it's just good storytelling. It just shows that like how important that is, you know, just like, you know, the energy of that thing, and just like it was really our North Star for one battle, because it was just so, you know, just the kinetic type of thing, and the car chases and all that, and just the fact that just things are moving around, it's all, you know, it's just really...
Were you watching it together before and talking about specific scenes and specific stuff? Or?
Yeah, and we also had a print of it that we carried with us, and so sometimes during the production, on the weekend, you know, because we were always on location, he'd be like, all right, let's watch French Connection again. And so we'd watch it.
To get the soul.
Just to kind of, exactly. I think, you know, we should really look at this, and especially before, like, we were doing driving stuff or whatever, or some scene that needed to have, like, lighting-wise had to be rough. And that was a lot of it, is just, like, underexposure, things like that. And just the performance is so strong that it just carries you through.
Yeah, and permission for this roughness, like make mistakes and embrace what...
Exactly. I'd worked one show, actually, I'd done commercials with him, but I only did one project with him, which was Harris Savitas. And Harris was like, always, on the movie, he was like, let's make mistakes. It's important to make mistakes. And if we fuck something up, then just tell him that just blame me. And I was like, what, really? You know? And he was like, yeah, let's just do stuff.
The only way to learn and to do something bold is
it's just like, throw it at the wall, let's try it. And if it doesn't work, okay, cool, we'll try something else. It's not a big deal. We can make mistakes here.
Yeah.
And it was like, very liberating to hear that.
So liberating.
Because a lot of times, it's like, oh no, everything has to be perfect.
It's all the fear I'm
Yeah.
gonna get fired, especially in Hollywood, right? I cannot make a mistake. I'm gonna get fired. But then everyone is operating from fear, and everyone is
Yeah.
operating from, let's stay in the comfort zone and
Yeah.
the safe zone,
Yeah.
and there's no, how are you gonna
Yeah.
do something interesting from there?
Yeah. So that was a big one. That's like, what else here? Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, just most of that was done on a stage. It's just so interesting lighting wise, and because he had done a bunch of movies with that cinematographer Robert Burke, and that one I've always been like. And then also they were doing a lot of stuff very groundbreaking technology wise at the time, and just the tension building of that and the creation of, again, like this observational cameras in this apartment, and you're seeing all this stuff going and you're trying to piece it all together. It's a fascinating creation of a world. It's like really cool to see.
Yeah.
What else I got? The Conversation, which is Francis Coppola.
Yeah.
Bill Butler did that. Is again another
Feels a little connected to French Connection.
Yeah,
right?
it was kind of that
Tension,
period.
the zooms, the
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
That kind of period of that. Speaking of 80s movies, Escape from New York, John Carpenter.
Oh yeah, that's 80s.
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
survival.
And I mean, it's very dystopian, but it's like, again, how do you create an environment with limited funds? The production design, the set dressing is just really, and the music. Like the director did the score, all the synth stuff. It's very crazy. It's not, it's just. When I first saw it, I was like, this is nuts. What is this? This is like so, just bizarre. And Dean Cundey was the DP on it, and I was like, it's just very different direction.
Yeah.
Road Warrior into dystopian cinema. George Miller's that was the second one in this series, which was, again, the vehicle design, all of that, just the energy of it was just, and also just the dryness of it, the look of it, the colors, just very stripped down, but just this tension that builds throughout the whole thing was really interesting. Shampoo, Hal Ashby, it's another 70s cinema, but completely different. Like, also just about like really strong performances, and telling Laszlo Kovacs is the DP on it, and he kind of came from this very like cinema verte type of thing, because he'd done Easy Rider and things like that, and for him to do kind of a real Hollywood movie with, at the time, Warren Beatty was a big star, and Hal Ashby I always found is really interesting how he blocks things and stuff like that.
Blocking
Yeah, it really brings a lot with a little. They did that with very small cast, but the movie's got a great energy.
Yeah. Now that you are kind of like transitioning to your cinematography era, is that the place where you want to live, in the small outdoor movies?
It's definitely, it has advantages, it has disadvantages. I mean, everything, there's never any like amazing, perfect, I think, experience just from seeing it from a gaffer side. It's nice to have all the decision makers right there, the creatives. And so it's certainly like doing more smaller movies that are more stronger stories, better impactful. Those are always fun and more enjoyment. Yeah. But, I mean, you never say never. You never know what's going to happen.
No, you never know. That's the fun thing about this life choice, right? That we have an intention, but we don't have the crystal ball, and we definitely don't have control. And it's like, I think I want to go there, but life is like, it's more like a sailboat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
the wind's
that's
blowing
the fun of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so you just have to kind of grab it and just be like, okay. And the thing is also just finding out what makes you creatively satisfied, I think, is really critical.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important to have that kind of creative, whatever is making you happy, like your own personal happiness artistically will also show up. I've certainly had seen folks who are not in that space, and working with them, and it's hard because you have to be creatively challenged, I think. I think that's what really gets people going.
Speaking of happiness, transitioning to cinematographer, did that create any impact in your personal life?
I think it gave, a little bit. I mean, I think it was just a change, and it's obviously anytime you make any sort of change career-wise or whatever, it's always stressful. It can be stressful.
But you're gonna get the calls no matter what. You don't have that stress of like, oh, if now I'm a DP, nobody's gonna call me to be a gaffer. Like everyone, we're still gonna keep trying. Like somebody might think like I might get lucky, you know.
I mean, I think it's just like my wife has been, we've been together for a very long time, almost 30 years, and so it's like she's been incredibly patient with this business, which is amazing, and so I'm very blessed, to have a supportive partner. I think that's really key.
And you're still also doing light gear and developing new technology and all that stuff?
A
or
little
that's
bit less. It's a little less, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So
Can I give you like a quick battery of questions, like more
Sure,
like ping
yeah.
pong thingy? Like one would be
Yeah.
like the job
like
description.
lightning round. That's like, okay, got a
yeah,
question.
Yeah, like the job description.
As was a cinematographer, it's kind of trying to realize the director's vision and understand, get in his or her head and understand what story you're trying to tell. And so your job is to help facilitate that and support them in the ways that they need to be supported.
If you weren't a DP, what would you be?
Or
a gaffer.
If I was not in this
not a
business,
gaffer.
I don't know, maybe a veterinarian or something.
Veterinarian?
Yeah, something not in this crazy business.
What do you love the most about the job?
Just the people and the situations and just all the amazing things we get to see.
It's such a privilege.
It's not a going to the same place every day, which is great.
What do you hate the most about this job?
The hours, sometimes it's just, like any pursuit, it's like, we're saying, it's just like when you're trying to do something for a long time, it's hard you get creatively exhausted at times, you're just not coming up with interesting ideas and things like that, so that can be tough.
Some mistakes from the early days that you would advise to avoid?
I don't know, there's so many. I would say, you just have to be tenacious because nobody is ever going to invite you into this space.
Yeah.
You have to just have the tenacity of a pit bull, and it doesn't mean you have to be a jerk or an asshole. You just have to have the resiliency and the belief in yourself. Because I had plenty of people who told me I didn't belong here, but tons, and it was like in verbally or non-verbally, just finding a path and just believing in yourself, even when you don't feel like you should be. It sounds cheesy, but it's the truth.
No, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. You have to knock on that door many, many times.
Totally.
And have
Totally.
have the
And
will.
sometimes it opens in weird ways.
Yeah.
And you just have to be open to all of it.
And it might even not open
Yeah.
for some people that
Exactly.
are super talented. It's just
Exactly.
it's not even depends only on your hard work and
Yeah.
your talent. So
I think the other thing is for people to really understand what makes them happy, creatively happy. Because cinematography might be the first role, but maybe you find something else that is way more satisfying for you.
Yeah.
And it's important to be open to all that.
Yeah, maybe I should be a gaffer and don't deal with all the politics.
Or yeah,
It's
I
like
don't
a
know.
quarter of the politics.
Yeah, yeah. But the glamour.
Personal traits that you think help you the most.
A sense of humor, and just being curious.
And personal traits that you need to keep under control.
There's so many, I'm sure. Just being focused on the work at hand, I guess. I don't know. I can get very distracted by a bunch of stuff.
Is there like one career changing moment or decision?
I stepped into being a gaffer as a regular basis. I don't know necessarily if it was like a quick moment of that happening, but it was like, okay, this is a thing, and I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I would defer on that one.
Okay, this one you can also pass on. Is there a moment in your career where you think you fucked up?
Oh yeah, you kidding? It's like every day. I mean, but that's a part of it. Is just like fucking up. I think the thing is if you have a good creative relationship with the team, with the people, and you can acknowledge it, because you have to fuck up. I mean, that's a key. Is like fucking up is part of also just learning amazing stuff. I mean, I think half of what we do wouldn't be what it is if it wouldn't be for somebody fucking something up, and just being like, oh my God, wait a minute, what's that? And I remember that so many times working, even as an electrician, and like, tape that light up, and I'd start taping it, and they're like, no, oh, wait a minute, hold on, move that over there, and it's like, boom, okay, this is it, and
Yeah.
that's great, and you go from hero to goat or goat to hero in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So fuck ups are good.
Yeah. Permission to fuck up is
Oh,
the one
absolutely.
thing I would
Gotta have that.
tell people.
Yeah.
The best impact of this career in your personal life? Maybe I asked already something similar.
Well, just the people that I've gotten to meet, and
Yeah.
just the experiences I've gotten to have been really great. And see the parts of the world I would have never been to.
Yeah. And the worst impact in your personal life?
Just the hours, you know. It's tough. It's like, it's hard it's just maintain a relationship.
But
at
you've
times.
been together 30
Yeah,
years.
yeah. And I mean,
I don't think have you been invited to the ASC yet?
No.
Because I think you have enough letters.
Oh, really? Okay,
I
good.
don't know.
I don't know.
I've been writing one, but you need a divorce to qualify.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
exactly,
think that's
clearly.
maybe you're
I
not
know.
going to make
I
it.
figured the ASC
It's
should
just
have
like,
a.
no, congrats. I mean, 30 years
Yeah. No,
like
I know, it's crazy.
going around the world.
It's crazy.
That's a fucking achievement.
Yeah.
If you could go back and change something, what would you change?
Oh God, I don't know. That list is so long. I think it'd be. I don't know. That's a good question. There isn't anything that's like, oh, I would have changed this.
Yeah.
It's more just like, I don't know. There's not really anything. I think all of it, the warts and all, is just part of the journey.
Hmm. And any advice that you would, if it was like Back to the Future, you can go back and give advice to your younger self. Like you have like 30 seconds to give
Yeah.
advice.
I would just say, look, you're gonna everything is gonna be about knocking you down. There's gonna be setbacks in whatever you pursue, and you just have to find the strength and the vision to be able to just push through that, and also accept what you learn about yourself in the process. Change that into a strength.
What do you wish you would have more time for? If the days were shorter, like what?
Yeah, just like taking photos and just hanging out and talking to people, just reading more. I'd love to read more.
Yeah, reading.
Listen to more music.
It's a pain in the ass because you have to read scripts,
Yeah,
and each script is like 3 hours.
yeah.
So I don't read nearly as many books as I
Yeah,
used to read in
I
my
know.
20s.
I know.
It's crazy. What do you do to keep sane in
Oh,
this world?
just talk to my wife a lot and like walk the dogs.
Is that the best decompression when you get home?
Yeah,
Just walk
to
the
just
dogs?
change to something that doesn't have to do anything to do with the day. You
Yeah.
know, and just kind of process it all. So yeah.
Yeah. Since I live in Topanga, I just go to the garden.
Yeah, that
Just
garden
put
is
the
a good thing.
hands
Yep,
in the
exactly.
earth and like,
Very different energy.
yeah. Oh, if you were a director, who would you hire as a DP?
Oh boy, I don't know. Somebody you can have fun with, and just inspires you.
It's funny because a lot of DPs answer like somebody that you can have fun with.
Yeah.
I guess they think they can light it themselves, even
Not
though they're
even. It's like you
directors.
want somebody who can do something, but just when somebody's just going to bring like, oh, wow, that's interesting. It's fresh. It's
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just somebody who complements what you need for that particular project.
Yeah.
You know.
And one name from all the
Oh,
amazing-
name? I don't know. Oh my God. I don't know. That'd be tough. That'd be tough. I mean, I like work. I mean, I know Maddie really well. I mean, I guess there's so many great people. It just
Yeah.
really depends on what it is.
We live on a suitcase. Is there like one item that must be in your suitcase?
A sleep mask.
Sleep mask. What do you most value on a director?
Good communication, creativity, yes. And even because a lot of times maybe they don't know how to handle a scene or whatever, or it's like, I don't know what this is, and like you said, the time and all this, and so it's just somebody who can be vulnerable with.
Vulnerability is like a big one as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
The
totally.
same way that we were saying there's no time, and time is like the most
Yeah.
precious commodity.
Yeah.
There's no room to be vulnerable also
Yeah.
because you cannot make the mistakes and stuff. And without the vulnerability, there's no emotion, there's nothing,
Yeah.
there's no creation.
Absolutely.
And what do you value more in a gaffer?
Somebody who's a good creative partner. When we need to work fast, where to come up with creative solutions, and when we have time, how we can do other interesting things. So it's just really somebody who's a good creative partner in the process.
Yeah. What advice would you give to people when they're doing their first film? And there's all this new.
Yeah, I think it's just don't let the tech get in the way and become a barrier to telling a good story. So it's really important just to be able to, how do you telling the strongest story you can tell, and because not everything is going to work. It happens. Every movie, doesn't matter what the budget is, stuff always goes off the rails, and so just tell the best story you can with what is in front of you and with whatever you have, and don't be discouraged by it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you.
It's
Appreciate
been
it.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry I tortured you with that
No,
question,
it's
but
all
I
good.
really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you too. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, these things are uncomfortable
know.
after an hour.
Woo.
Great to have you.
No, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, does anyone have a question that I didn't make that you want to make?
All right, silence
We
is
covered
golden.
everything.
Yeah. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for all your help today.
Thank you so much. It was
Appreciate it.
great
Thank you.
watching you lighting and talking to you. Thank you so much.
absolutely.
And now I owe you a dinner with a nice
With no lighting.
tungsten soft lighting.
Yeah. We'll do it with candles.